Welcome to the Most Definitely Music Show, hosted by your boy Kai Gilkey from the west side of Atlanta, but coming from the wonderful paradise of Tampa, Florida. And I wanted to let you all know that this show coming up is going to be one that you won't forget. And this show was created because of the love for conversation and debates when it comes to music. And those are endless. Off the Wall or Thriller? Biggie or Tupac? Who is the best of a generation? Who influenced who? We don't have the right answers or even the wrong ones. It's just about the conversation. This is most definitely a music show. Welcome back. It's a brand new episode of the Most Definitely Music Show. And it's your boy KG coming back here on the wonderful ones and twos. Well, actually, there's no ones and twos because I'm not a DJ. But anyway, nonetheless, we're back here with a brand new episode. And again, we always bring a whole lot more. We are also bringing in the guests. So last episode, I brought one of my good friends, Bianca, Miss BJ Heron. She was amazing on our last episode, talking about Janet, Insecure, all the different things that she loved from a musical perspective. So it was amazing to have her on. And it's been just a great week, just being able to live life again and be able to listen to new music that's coming up and everything. And one of the best things about this is that I mentioned earlier in my first episode that I am a big fan of rock. Love rock music, hard rock, alternative, even a lot of good ballads, but heavy metal. I'm a big 90s grunge kid, hard rock, post grunge, that 2000s, all that kind of stuff. So I've got a lot of it in my blood and love it, and been loving it for years. And was listening to a lot of songs from the past week, even the last couple of days, listening to a lot of great bands, the Avenged Sevenfolds, the even some of the Slipknots, just a lot of great ones. Disturbed, some of the ones that I came up on. But today's show is to definitely highlight rock music. And the person I am going to do it with is someone who is very near and dear to my heart. This is one of my best friends since high school. She is a former Atlanta Braves employee. She is also a former employee of one of the most prestigious museums in the country, in Atlanta.
Oh, you ain't gotta do
called the High Museum. And she is an artist herself, but she does her art more with the paintbrush. And also, what?
More so paper now.
And now paper as well. So she does her own business with paper roses. They are amazing. She is a amazing crafter. She knows how to really make things look real when it comes to the paint or whether it comes to the paper. So everybody, I want to introduce my wonderful and one of my best friends, Miss India Gates. Welcome to the show, girl.
Hi. You didn't have to do all that now. Like, you're making me, like, I am literally sitting here feeling hot.
Why are you feeling hot?
Because I was just like, I don't know. when people talk about me, I don't know why I feel a sense of overwhelming. I'm just like, why are you talking about me? Stop it.
Well, we got people like you deserve to be talked about, India. Again, you've been with me since my teenage years, and we done came up together, and
Long
we've shared
time.
a, huh?
It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time, about half our lives now. And who would ever met? It's so funny. We met each other in high school, and being able to start off with each other. I mean, it's so funny because I remember the stories of you not even really liking me because you just were like, "Who is this annoying kid?" and all, and like he's
Because
so.
you would just literally just stare at me in the middle of the hall with this just weird ass stare and just randomly come pick me up and put me down and run back to your class. And I'm like, who the hell is this
Oh, the good old days of high school. But of course, but now it's become an amazing friendship. I mean, where we are now, and so one of the things I want to give the audience is just a little background from India. So I mean, India. Well, one of the things I want you to tell the audience is a little bit about you, your background. Of course, your life coming here to America because you're not from the country originally. I mean, you
I
were
am.
you,
I am an American citizen.
I mean, of course, you're an American citizen, but I mean, but you're not. I mean, but you didn't grow up here. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, just give a little bit more about your background, how you came up, and also how you got into music, especially rock.
Well, okay. So we're just gonna start off as I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and was raised in Bermuda till I was about 9 or 10 years old. Then I moved back out here to the States once my parents got married, and from there, um, I'd always been exposed to hip hop, R&B, and typical things that you would see in a black household. So getting into rock was kind of one of those things where it was like looked down upon because that was considered white folk shit, or yeah, or devil worshiping music. And where I grew up, it was pretty heavy. It was a heavy Christianity is heavily influenced in the culture in some aspects, especially in my growing up. My mom was she's not very, but kind of strict about the things that we listened to and the things that we watched. So I didn't really get into rock until probably um, high school. And that's when I started meeting a whole bunch of different people and, just getting into, expanding my horizons because I honestly felt like, yeah, I can listen to this all day, but there are other things I feel like that should be enjoyed. And I felt like rock music was one of them, but it's just at that time I felt like it was slightly demonized or looked down upon because it wasn't considered a black thing to do. Like black people don't listen to rock and roll. Like the hell is that? And yeah, basically all I got.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's actually sounds a lot like how when it came to me. I mean, I was the same way. I got into rock because of being into wrestling. I got into rock because of wrestling. Wrestling was big for me, and of course, most of the guys come out to rock music. So that was like my entryway into getting into rock. So I remember WWE used to put on these promos for a lot of their wrestlers, a lot of the superstars, called like "My Sacrifice," which was off of Creed's "My Sacrifice" song, which was very big at the time. That was one of the best ones that I remember, and I got captivated. So that was how it worked for me and coming into rock. But I mean, for you, like again, like you coming from Bermuda back to the States and now having to learn a whole different way of music and doing different things, especially when it comes to rock. And of course, like you said, you really got into it more towards like high school. So like tell me what was that like as in terms of um like what was it that like what were some of the bands that like captivated you? Like what really made you sink your teeth into it?
Well, I started dabbling when I believe it was kind of like early 2000s. I want to say, I think I walked into my mom's room and she was watching MTV. I think she was just using it for busy noise.
Just like a
And
lot of us.
and I happened to walk in on this rock song and it had like this beautiful animation. I was just like, what is this? This is cool. And I didn't know at the time it was Linkin Park. That was Breaking the Habit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of just started from there. So it was just like, okay, if I heard Linkin Park, I was like, okay, cool. It was all right. But being as though I come from a family that listens to reggae, soca, gangster rap, old school stuff, it was kind of hard for me to try to listen to it in the house because, again, that's not what we listen to. That's what white people do. Not, But I don't know why there was this stigma of if you listen to rock music, you're either going to hell or you're a white person.
Well, I mean, it's the crazy thing is rock people. Rock was created by black people.
And that's
It,
the thing about it.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And it was created by us. Now, of course, as time went on, you hear the changes and how the sound has shifted. But I've enjoyed it. You gotta remember, my parents came up from R&B, old school, like the old school music, like the '70s and '80s. Came up through Michael Jackson and hearing OJ's, Earth, Wind and Fire, all these different all these different groups. And for me, I got into things once I, of course, got into school, especially when we moved to Atlanta. That's when I started getting into hip hop. But when it came to rock, wrestling was that big thing. And I'm the same way as you. It was different for me because it was the same thing. This is what white people listen to. And how can you listen to that music? It's like so aggressive. And I wouldn't think that you'd be into something like that. It was so funny. I was talking to my barber, Tony. Shout out to Tony here in Tampa, a great barber. And he was like, I never thought. I knew you had a little bit of, some different stuff in you, but I never thought you'd be into something like that. And I let him listen to Korn and some of the other songs that I like listening to. So, but believe me, I got that kind of backlash too. And I mean, for us, what it was like for us coming up in those 2000s. We came up through the emo era. We came up through the real 2000s post-grunge music, when 3 Days Grace got really big, Disturbed was even bigger, especially that hard rock era. We came through a lot. In my opinion, I think we came up through a bit of a golden age, but it was a lot to see, seeing, like you said, 3 Days Grace and the Paramores, the Disturbed, the Slipknots, the Shinedown, the Linkin Parks. Those were bands that really shaped the generation, especially for someone like you.
I mean, I definitely have to agree because what really got me into it was during my high school years. Of course, it was at a time where there was kind of like a shift in my personal life. Things started happening, and it was just, I didn't know how to, I guess, without rebelling so much as to how could I feel without having to, do all the, I guess, crazy stuff that regular teenagers do when things start going terrible, like things start slightly going down in the house. And my boyfriend at the time, he got me into listening to Disturbing 3 Days Grace. And so that right there is what kind of started me into listening to it. Because I remember the first one he told me to listen to was, doggone it. It was Disturbed. It was a Disturbed song. I think it was Stupefy.
That had to be Stupefy. Must have been.
I think it must have been Stupefy because at the time it was kind of just like, I'm not used to this and I don't feel safe. I'm gonna click out of this.
I mean, David Draymond's voice is something that definitely captures people.
Then was just something that it just kept me coming back, and it just it was like kept coming back, and you just keep listening to it more and more, and you just like, okay, I feel this, I can get with this. It's not bad, but that was at the time where it was kind of hard to access music because you had to have like MP3 players and like CDs, and if you didn't have the CD, that is like you downloaded MP3s on LimeWire and stuff like that, and that's how you're old.
Yeah, we're really old. We really came to the early parts of the digital era.
Napster and like illegal downloads of like MP3s, so that way you can listen to rock because your parents weren't gonna pay for it, so you had to like do it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely know. But you know what's a great what's so crazy is that I would say VH1 and MTV were really good. Of course, when we like to say MTV played actual music. So of course the videos in the morning would be a big thing for me. So I started getting more in the rock. As much as I loved wrestling, of course, a lot of their theme songs are rock music, and a lot of the artists they were using. It wasn't until I got into high school, and I remember I met Chevelle. You remember them? I remember I met Chevelle and her group. So shout out to Chevelle White. If she ever decides to listen to this podcast, you're a big influence. I've told her before. So she got me into listening to System of a Down. When I heard System of a Down, I was like, oh my God, what is this? This right here is amazing. I didn't sound like this, but I was just like, this is insane. And you know, Serge's voice, he is just it's so unique and so wow. Like when I remember, I think the first one that she let me hear was the Vanity of Obscenity, the
I think
Vicinity of Obscenity. There we go. Huh?
Chop Suey was it for me.
I mean, most of the time everybody was Chop Suey, but I didn't get into the band until afterwards. I think by that time Mesmerize had came out by that time for me, which has basically been their last album they've had since what, oh 05 if I'm correct. So they haven't made an album since then. I'm sorry, that was 07. So they haven't had an album in a long time. So um so that's when I got into heavier music. That's when I started discovering the Disturbs. I started discovering the Linkin Parks and everything, and Slipknot. When I heard Slipknot, I just went into a frenzy. And I was like, oh my good God, these guys are in this is 9 members of a band. Like the drums with Joey and Clown, how he would with the percussion, and especially Corey's voice. You know that for a fact. As much as you love Corey, you know he really brings that intensity out what the band tries to project. So those are some of the things with me. So that's why I want to ask you, Trinity, is who are some of your favorite rock bands?
Oh Lord, favorite rock bands. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Linkin Park is probably number one for me because that's where I kind of started out with. Then
Rest in peace, Chester.
Huh?
Rest in peace, Chester.
Rest in peace, man. We'll talk about that at some later point about that. Avenged Sevenfold, 30 Seconds to Mars, Fall Out Boy, Paramore, Godsmack, Disturbed, Breaking Benjamin, Bullet for My Valentine. I can go on forever. Evanescence gets one in here.
You just didn't like their new album.
Their new album was okay, but like I said, when you're so used to listening to a particular sound, it's kind of like how the same thing happened in Linkin Park. Everybody got used to listening to that one particular sound that when they actually started to change, or experiment with their music, people were like, man, this sucks. I don't like to listen to this anymore. And I honestly, for me, it was quite a surprise because it's like, not a lot of people take the risk of going from heavy metal to alternative to like, putting EDM and stuff like that in their music. So it's like,
I think Linkin Park did a great job with that. I mean, like you said, the first 2 albums being more of the new metal sound, the whole hip hop and rock kind of thing, like how Korn was, and Limp Bizkit. And to hear from them going from the first 2 albums, even though it was amazing, their first 2 albums are amazing, and Hybrid Theory and Meteora. But when they shifted to with Minutes to Midnight to go to a more like actual alternative, a little bit more rock sound, that was, I would think, was a big shift for them to go more straight in that perspective. And the album was great. Minutes to Midnight, I didn't like the album when it first came out because I was just like you said, I was kind of like, oh man, they kind of shifted their sound. But when I really listened to it, I was like, this is really good. And as I got older, I really appreciated Minutes to Midnight so much more. But you're right. And then even to their last album, One More Light, being more EDM or electronic music involved, and even Mike said it so much. He said that we have to evolve. We can't stay stuck in that same area. Even though he knows that people love their music, he knows that people love that music, but they just can't do what they did before. They have to evolve with those times. And that's why, like you said, I'm glad that they did that. Even when they did the what album I'm talking about. With the sphere and everything.
Why is that flexing on me right now? I should know this.
So the one that the Catalyst was on.
I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. As Linkin Park fans, I don't know how in the world that I'm blanking out, because I have the album too. That's what's so crazy. But anyway, but that was probably the part where they were more experimental. But just even going back to what you were saying. So
it was A Thousand Suns.
A Thousand Suns. There we go.
I was like, is it 1,000 Suns? I was like, I don't want to be wrong. I was like, it's 1,000 Suns. 1,000 Suns. Just say it. I was like, it's 1,000 Suns.
Yep, I remember that. But yeah, that was a big shift for them. But just going back to it. So like for you, you said that of course you had all these different bands. I did want to ask you, because one of the biggest things in rock music is festivals and building a fest and everything that comes around with it. So I gotta ask you, so if you could build a festival around 5 of your favorite bands, who would they be?
Ooh, Lord. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I got them all listed down right here. I'd have definitely System of a Down, Slipknot, Disturbed, Godsmack for a special appearance. I would add Breaking Benjamin, because I was like, I know they don't go international because of the lead singer. He's afraid to fly. Did you know that? You didn't know that, did you?
No, that Ben is afraid to fly.
Yes.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's why they won't go to I read it in an interview. Pretty sure I read it in an interview or article that the reason why they won't go out of the country is because he's afraid to fly.
They missing some major bucks then.
Look, it is what it is. Evanescence. Okay, can I have day 2?
Day 2?
I'm kidding.
Shoot, are you playing most of them? Hey, now most of them are 3 days. You know what I'm saying? 4. Sometimes.
One day, I would want those. I would want them there. I think if I had to have a headline, it'd have to be between Slipknot and System of a Down for a headliner.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about that? Slipknot has been a headliner for years. I actually saw them not too long ago. They were here in Tampa for their Not Fest tour, which they're going back on again, but they're not going to be coming this way. But anyway, I've seen Slipknot many times, but they've always been big headliners for years now. And for System of a Down to be coming back and them headlining, like they just did, if I'm correct, I think they did 2 shows in Los Angeles, which of course they're from California. They did 2 shows and sold out the Bank of California Stadium, which is where the LA football club plays at the MLS. They sold it out 2 nights in a row. Because people have been waiting for System of a Down for so long. You even know like how long we've been waiting for. So I was mad. That they were only doing like West Coast shows. That really pissed me off. But we just know how big System of a Down is to the rock culture, because we haven't had them in so long.
Right.
So yeah, but your list is good. When you said Godsmack for a special appearance, why a special appearance for Godsmack?
Because honestly, I feel like a lot of people probably forgot about Godsmack, and just to have somebody as like a special appearance will definitely hype things up.
I feel like people forgot about Godsmack. That's kind of tough.
I mean, unless you hear them on the radio, because I don't, they haven't released any other music, have they?
They haven't released
Because
new music
it's
probably
really
in about.
hard. It's really hard to get a hold of the rock situation in Atlanta because everything's they literally took away all the good rock stations. So it's
Mm,
like, well, you have to either be on it like social media in order for you to in order for you to even find out about these things.
mhm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Because shout out to the old Project 961. I know you and I used to love that station. Coming up. 97X was always a good one from alternative. But again, no, active rock has changed a lot, so much. I mean, I think Corey from Slipknot, he's mentioned how really heavy metal, like hard rock, has become dirty music in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
which really sucks. Um, and it's so crazy because during the 2000s and the late 90s, again, the 90s and early 2000s, that was a big staple. That was a big opportunity for bands to become big and be able to use their platform. And even though rock can be a little bit more of a the traditional sense, we've seen this where if you ever look at like some of their numbers sales wise, they move more of a unit, like physical units. And sometimes the streaming isn't always the same. But you still hear it, but you get the point. It's not the same as like how hip hop has changed and how pop is and everything. But again, a lot of the stations are like that. But that just goes back, just go bringing it back. I don't think Godsmack's last album was about 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, because I think they released in 17, if I'm correct. And that album, a lot of people were different on because it sounded like they went more softer. They went more, I guess, alternative to an extent. Some people would say commercial. I'm trying to be modest. Uh, so that's what some people felt like they did. But I think
It's
that's one.
really a change from 1,000 horsepower.
Yes, it did change.
So what about you? Like, what if you could do one? What would your thoughts be?
I could build a fest.
Yes.
Oh, 5 bands. I would like to build it around Slipknot. Of course, my favorite band. I want to build around Slipknot. I would love to build around Metallica.
Good
I
choice.
think Metallica is an amazing band. I've just never gotten to see Metallica live. And just a little note to my boys, Pedro and Jose and Adriel. I still hate you guys for being able to listen. And I was like to go see Metallica live, if not almost twice now, but nonetheless. So Slipknot, Metallica. I would love to put Disturbed in there. I would love to put, and I can't put Linkin Park because now that Chester's gone, they're probably no longer going to get back together. I would like to say I'd like to put. mm, I'm trying to dig in my crates right now, my mental crates. I would like to put Shine Down up there.
I was gonna say if you didn't say Shinedown, I was like, who are you? Because you love that band.
Shine Down. And I'm gonna give you a bit of a twist. I would like to put Paramore as a headliner in there. I know they're more punk, but I love to see that mix. I love to
Right.
see into those bands. So I think they can build something like that. Um, and what's so funny? All this festival talk is leading me to go into our next segment, which was about like the festivals that you and I have attended. So, well, one thing I do want to go back to, we talked about like our different rock bands. Now we talked about it before. We talked about how a lot of bands have changed their frontmen or members of the
Mm-hmm.
band, and especially like when they change frontmen, it can change the sound of a band so much.
Oh,
We've
absolutely.
seen that. Yeah, we've definitely seen, and I know like go on and tell like the one that you just have. Oh, you always tell me about it. You just never can get rid
Were
of. You
you
just
talking about
never
Adam
let it get
Garcia
let
leaving
down.
3 Days Grace? I was mortified. My emo soul was just terrified because I was like, no, where else am I gonna get my hurt and my angst from? Like, I was really upset because I don't know, for some reason with Adam's voice, it was just like I felt more emotion. And then when he left 3 Days Grace, I could no longer get into it anymore. It's just like it didn't speak to me on a level that spoke to,
Mm.
I guess, my emo teenage early 20s soul. Because trust me, when I was upset, I would just turn on 3 Days Grace and everybody would ask me, "Are you okay? Like, is
Mm.
everything all right? Are you okay? Do you need some help?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I just need to. This is my way of let me hear the hurt coming from somebody else other than me."
I mean, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
I mean, I'm
because
not saying that all of it was angsty, because I definitely there have been a couple songs that I can just sing all day and it'll be all right. But yeah, and then the same thing happened with like Kill Switch Engage. Is like when Howard was on there, I was more inclined to listen to Kill Switch Engage at the time. And then Howard left, and like I said, I couldn't listen to them. It wasn't saying that they weren't a great band, because they really are, but it's something about the the artist that, I don't know. It's just something that just speaks to you. It's like eating your favorite, like say for example, like eating your favorite food. You go get it every day, every day, every day, and then they change the formula. It no longer tastes good. You still want to enjoy it, but it doesn't taste good anymore. And that's basically how I took it with 3 Days Grace and Killswitch Engage.
yeah, I mean, I'll give you that because I mean, don't get me wrong, because Matt is a really good Matt Walsh. He's the lead singer for 3 Days Grace. He's not a bad singer at all, not at
Like,
all.
I
Oh,
tried to give it, like, as soon as they got a replacement, I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't expecting him to sound like Adam. I wasn't expecting, like, you guys just need to stay the same. But it to me, it just wasn't. It wasn't firing on all cylinders anymore. It was just like, maybe if I had 6 cylinders, maybe it was like doing two. But and that's, I mean, personally for me, that I'm telling you, like, how I describe things is very, I kind of try to relate it to something else, because the way I explain things sometimes is kind of weird.
I would say, I mean, I'll give you that. I think it was something for when Adam left. It did affect 3 Days Grace. I mean, if you even go back and like you said, Howard Jones from Killswitch Engage. I mean, I didn't hear Jesse. I had listened to the music, of course, before Howard came, but Howard did give them a very different sense and a different sound that I loved. I mean, he was on there. He did what, 3 records with them, and when he left, it sucks. And of course, I mean, I'm glad he has his own band, and he still has a great relationship with Killswitch. And Jesse came back, and I saw them. I saw them when they came to Tampa as well with Slipknot with the Knot Fest tour, and I enjoyed it. But like you said, it's a very different thing. I think it's also kind of. I think that's one of the biggest things with bands. It can be such a big change. Like it's not the same as hip hop. Hip hop is based off of that one artist,
Right.
and someone when that person passes away, everything's gone. You know what I'm saying? Or they
Right.
decide not to do music anymore. Okay, it's over. Rock can be something because you can keep all the guys who play the same instruments, but if the vocalist leaves, it can really change the style of how someone decides to listen to the band. Or even if they have a guitarist who
Like the
leaves.
same thing that happened with like Avenged Sevenfold. When Rev died, I was just like, well, who's gonna play the drums? Because I don't know anybody else who can play drums as well as he could.
Exactly. But you know the funny thing, I mean, but
And
there's always
honestly,
someone to
like,
be able to do it.
I literally had a fear that they weren't going to continue, because it was just like, I wasn't, if they did find somebody, I was, like I said, I wasn't going to expect them to live up to the expectation of somebody else, because that's
Mm.
that's just too much. But it's just like, you still need to have, I guess, that same drive and that same energy. But I'm not really gonna be like, okay, you don't sound like him. It's close, but it's still not okay. But it was like, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. But the best thing about it is, I mean, Brooks Wackerman. He's a great drummer. He's a very great drummer, and I think he's done an amazing job since Rev passed away. He's done a great
Mm-hmm.
job filling in for Avenged Sevenfold and giving them a giving them still that sound that we're very used to. Because of course Brooks was on. He did still do some drums from what I remember for the Nightmare album, and then for the stage as well. And also, I'm sorry, the Hail the King album as well. So I know he's been an amazing drummer. But like you said, things can change. I mean, even when just even going back, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, um, when John Frusciante left, that really changed things for them from writing and from a sound perspective. Because then Dave Navarro comes in, and then Dave, even though he only did one album with One Hot Minute, that was a big change for them. And then he ends up getting fired, and then they end up getting John back, and then they create Californication, and that became a big time album. And John's been in and out of the lineup, but you see what I'm saying? But it's something when you get those members of a band and one of them leaves, one member can really change things. It can really change a lot for the band. Whether
It
it's
really
the
can.
vocalist, yeah, whether it's the vocalist, the guitarist, the drummer, it makes a humongous difference. And
Well,
especially
they're
when
all.
you
I
get when your
consider them
front man
all
goes.
artists. Like I consider like everybody is part of that band to be an artist because you had to perfect your craft in order to be good at what you do.
Hmm.
So it's like you know, you know, like the just like everybody makes the band to me personally. But I
Hmm.
mean, you can always have that that one person that just stands out. But if they don't have the backup singer or they don't have the backup drummer, guitarist, it's not going to be the same. So that's basically how I see it.
No, I can give you that. I mean, it kind of makes me think about now how life will proceed, like with a band like Linkin Park. Will they decide to continue making music anymore as a whole? That remains to be seen. And I mean, we've heard little bits and rumors that maybe Linkin Park will try to come back together.
I
This,
mean,
of
even if
course, is
they
like
didn't come back, I wouldn't be upset.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I would not be upset if they did not come back. They've
They
done
still
their job.
have plenty of albums, plenty of songs that I can listen to on repeat. Like I said earlier, before Hybrid Theory is one of the albums that I will listen to on repeat.
Hmm.
So they didn't really need to do a whole lot to impress me, to be quite honest.
Exactly. But I mean, but still, I mean, but it'll be something to see. I mean, I imagine that Mike and them, if they do decide to come back, I can imagine they're not. Of course, they'll do life moving on without Chester, but I don't think they'll replace him. Or some people like say, "Oh, we're not replacing him." No, when somebody's no longer the front person or someone's not the same of that position, you replace them. So I don't think they'll replace Chester. That's what I don't think. I think if they decide to do come back, they will just keep it with Mike being the front man. And that can change things a lot. That'll probably change like what they decide to do from a music standpoint. And we've heard Mike do his own solo stuff, and then of course doing
That was
things with
heartbreaking.
yeah. I mean, but he did. It was good. I mean, I actually thought his album was
It
really good.
it was really good. It was heavy at times, and then it was just like I had to tell people like if you're gonna listen to this, be in a good place because it's gonna make you either want to be you're gonna feel some type of way after you listen to the end of this album. Like you're gonna feel some
Yeah.
type of way.
Yep. No, you will. And I think that I believe that Mike did a great job just to voice out his frustration. I know some people gave some criticism because, well, you made an album and it's for profit, and especially after Chester died, I'm like, artists do this all the time. I'm not saying that that should be okay, but what I'm saying is that I hate when people felt like that when Mike did it. I'm like, you all want music as fans. You want to know how artists are feeling. A lot of these artists put music out when they're going through hurt or when they're going through pain and agony and everything like that, and you feel a certain way when they put it out after a member dies or something like that, you feel like they're gouging for money or something like that. I'm like, bro, it
Somebody
doesn't
is
make
not
sense.
they're not trying to do this just to get money. They're trying to express how they feel. And this is what really just pisses me off when people just think, oh, you're just doing it for the money. No. bitch, I need money. Not money. Shit. I should edit that out. Like, no. I am trying to express myself in a way that I want to share with others. And if that has to come out in an album, a book, something, and is my name attached to it. So if my name is attached to it, you're gonna automatically just gonna want to go ahead and buy it anyway.
Mm,
So
makes
I don't
sense.
understand what people's problem is when somebody is hurt and they make a whole fucking album about it. And they're like, well, why are you making pain from your hurt? Because that's how I'm feeling.
Like shit, most of y'all listen to Taylor Swift stuff, and she makes her. I hate she makes all her pain in albums and songs and everything like that. No, look, I'm not here to hate on Taylor Swift at all, but
No,
I'm not even
I'm a
about.
little bit of a Swiftie myself too, so I'm not gonna hate on Taylor, but
I'm not gonna hate on Taylor Swift. What I will say is that I just say that sometimes how she has gone about like the songwriting process in terms of like the content of her songs and the things that have followed. Well, I'm gonna say follow the things that have preceded. I apologize. Things that have preceded that goes into the recording of those songs is what gets people. Is why people feel a certain way about when she has a relationship. Oh, she's working with this person. Oh, create a song. Yeah, create it out. Then nobody has a problem. Then, well, I mean, people have talked about, it, but all her fans will have no problems when the songs come on a damn hit song. But anyway, let me shift it back. I don't need to go on that tangent. Anyway, nonetheless, the point is, I understand people's problems, why they feel a certain way, especially when artists express themselves on music that is still being put for a dollar price and you still put out there for profit and you release that, whether it's major label or even on your own, whatever the case may be. But nonetheless, we buy art based on things that we feel, and that's one of the mediums that what music is. So I didn't have a problem with him releasing it. I was glad that he put some music out. And in essence, if you really think about something like that from Mike, or even if another artist does do it, I think it helps
shit, that was
because
probably
now
therapeutic as hell for him.
that's what I'm saying. But also think about the fact that this gives an opportunity of continuing to hear music from a member of that band that you love. And especially for someone like Mike, who is basically like without him, there's no Chester. Without Chester, there's no him. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're the voices of Linkin Park. No disrespect to the other guys in the band, but because they are the front men of Linkin Park, you see what I'm saying? Like that comes with it. Now you get to hear music that comes from Mike. And a lot of people, even though they heard Fort Minor, a lot of people hadn't heard Mike really do like his own
If you
solo
haven't heard
thing
Fort
and
Minor by
ballads.
like now, go listen to it.
Yeah, I'm
Because
telling you.
I like Fort Minor. When Fort Minor comes up on my playlist, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about Fort Minor. But you know what? If you haven't listened to Fort Minor, go listen to it.
Yeah, The Rising Tide is still a great album. I thought it was excellent. Nice little side project. Well, not a little. I'm sorry. It was a great side project. I know he hasn't released any music. And I think he's finished it. But anyway, just coming back to it. But you're right. But yeah, changing artists from bands can really change things, which makes people feel very differently. And speaking of which, when it comes to those things, sometimes when you see it in an appearance, that can make a big difference as well, especially when you go on tour. So, going into what I enjoy so much, you and I, we've been to so many festivals. We've seen a lot of these acts, and we've seen them in person, and it's a very different energy when you go to these festivals or you go to their tours and you go and see them. I think you and I, well, actually for me, first rock concert I went to was um, the Vans Warped Tour in 2007.
Was that Lincoln? Did Lincoln Park come?
No, that wasn't Linkin Park. No, they weren't on the Vans
Okay, that
Warped
wasn't the
Tour.
last one, did it? I was so sorry.
No, no.
I'm just gonna put
Saiz
this
went.
out there.
My brother, Saiz, my brother, everybody. Saiz went to Linkin Park's last tour. Of course, we didn't know it was going to be their last tour, of course, because that was that they were still just touring. They were still alive. I mean, I'm sorry, Chester was still alive at the time, well alive at the time. This was well before One More Light had came out. So he got a chance to see them when they were on their tour, I think, for the hunting party.
See, and I told my mom I'll never forgive her. I could have went to go see Linkin Park on the last Warp Tour, but because it was somehow 2 days late or like 2 days before the event, and she should have known this 2 weeks ago. But my boyfriend at the time, he won tickets and asked me to go, and I couldn't go see him. And I always tell my mom, I'm like, thank you for not allowing me to go see Chester and Linkin Park, because now I am left without having to go to a Linkin Park concert that I've always wanted to go.
I
Like,
always wanted to go. I never got to go
I
to
am
Project
traumatized by
Revolution.
anybody who says Vans Warped Tour. I'm just like,
Indy, I never got to go. Look, Indy, I never got to go to a Project Revolution. I never got to go see Linkin Park live. So look, we're both in the same
I
boat
thought
together.
you
And
went to see LP live.
I've never seen LP live. I wish I could have, but I've never seen LP live. So we're in the same boat together. But
Okay, I don't feel bad now.
but but Vans Warped Tour for me, the bands on that tour, that was my first rock concert. Shout out to my homegirl Vicky, and shout out to my boy Gabe. Um, we all went together. I was in high school, and that had Paramore. This is when Riot was like at its peak. Riot was out for Paramore. Who else was there? I saw Vince. No, sorry, I saw Katy Perry before I was like not before, but when I Kissed a Girl had came out, and she was like rising, and this is when she was still dating
This was
Travis
like
McCoy.
before. Was this like before she became like before she became super famous, or like
That's
as
what I'm
she was
saying.
like?
Yes, this is her rising. This is her like she was on the main stage, but this is like I said, I Kissed a Girl was her big hit at that point. And then she was still dating Travis McCoy. So that's when I saw her.
Okay.
So it was Avenged Sevenfold. I'm like not Avenged Sevenfold. I keep saying Avenged Sevenfold. It was Paramore. It was um, it was Katy Perry, and it was Killswitch Engage when Howard was still there. They were on the Vans Warped Tour then, and that was something to see for my first show. Uh, what was your first concert? Your
When
first
you
rock
asked me to
concert?
go, when you asked me to go to Mayhem,
Which wait a minute, which Mayhem? Not the one that we went to for 9 and 14.
We went to Mayhem at least 3 times.
Are you talking
So
about Mayhem? Are you talking about Mayhem in 2011
yes,
with Slipknot? I'm like not with Disturbed and Godsmack.
that was my first actual one.
That was your first. That was you and me and Amanda, I think, right?
Yes, it was, because I'm just gonna put this out there. I grew up in a very sheltered helicopter life. So if I didn't tell my mom something that she liked within a certain amount of time, then I would not be able to go. So there were a lot of places and a lot of things that I did not get to do as a teenager. And I mean, I completely understand why she didn't want me to do that at the time. But however, I did feel sort of kind of deprived because everybody was like, oh, I went to go see this. I went to this concert and I didn't do this. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, I had to be grown before I got a chance to go to Mayhem and go see everything and
Mm.
enjoy my first actual rock festival. And I enjoyed it because you, you and my introverted self it's weird. It's a weird ass dynamic because I'm an introvert extrovert. But when your ass gets really extroverted, my extrovert comes out. Because then afterwards, I'm just like, you know what? I need to take a breather. I'm going back in my house. But you know what? This is the exact reason why, because I get my serotonin and my dopamine addiction. You know, just being out having fun, rocking out with people that I like. And when I come home, I can just be like, okay, that was enough. I can wait another 6 months.
Well, you know, it's so funny. Well, I'm glad one. Now I know that I actually took you to your first one. And it's so crazy because you and I, we've been to so many concerts, and it's funny. We haven't been to like a festival, like them big ones that you see like in international ones. But I mean, for the festivals that have been touring, we have been very fortunate to go to some of these events. I mean, you and I, we've seen Slipknot together. We've seen Avenged Sevenfold. We've seen Deftones. I mean,
I
we've seen
forgot
most
we went to. They came to Mayhem, didn't they? Or did we go see them
who.
when they were on tour? Deftones.
No, we saw Deftones when they were on May. Was it May? It was Mayhem. No,
We saw them
was it
twice,
Mayhem?
didn't we?
No, no. We saw them. No, we saw Deftones when they were co-headline, even though they were the headline for Avenged Sevenfold. Avenged Sevenfold, but that was the Hail the that was the Hail the King tour, and
That
we
was the
saw
time
them.
that
That
we
was the
saw
second time
them
we saw
two times in a year, right?
exactly because Avenged Sevenfold
Okay.
came on the
Okay.
Mayhem Fest. They came from Mayhem Fest and earlier in that year, and then
Right.
we saw them again when they did their actual tour with Deftones.
Right. Right. That's okay. That's what I remember. But yeah, man, those concert days, man, I miss those. I wish they would kind of bring them back, but Atlanta's lost so much of the rock scene. It's like I don't even think if they were to bring back something like Mayhem, would it even be as big as it was? It probably would, but I don't think it'll get the publicity that it wants because we don't have any decent rock stations. We only have one rock station that's 100.5, and half the time it's not even, you know,
It's not active
new
rock, I
stuff,
don't think.
not stuff that we used to hear like on 961.
I don't think it's not as active rock the same way. But yeah, Project 961 was our station. I used to love
Man,
Project
I was
961
so
in
upset
Atlanta.
when Project 961 went off the air because I heard them play their last song and that was Freebird. And then after that I heard
Mm.
Ryan Seacrest and I got pissed. I was pissed because you turned it into a top 40 station. We have enough top 40 stations in Atlanta. Like, why did you get rid of the one rock station that actually I gave a shit about? That made my
So
drives from college to my house a lot more bearable when I got my little rinky dink ass car.
it's the market, girl. It's I mean, but that's how active rock has changed. I mean, like you gotta think about it too, Indy. Like while we still love rock, we know that some of these artists, it's tough. A lot like the market for music is not what it was in the '90s and 2000s. You know what I'm saying? Us coming up, um, we never. It's an ever changing market. That's what I'm saying. Rock is not the same way. And what is rock, which is basically a lot more softer or even alternative type music. Um, and this is no disrespect to those bands. Like I would still love some of the alternative stuff that's out, but you and I grew up on hard rock, heavy metal, and a lot of those bands that were still
I kind
on
of
the
grew into
radio.
all of that because I had to go find that for myself.
I mean, of course, I mean, yeah, we talked about it before earlier, but my point is, you and I came up on those kinds of things where again we came during the heyday of the emo and hard rock days of the early and mid 2000s. We
Boy, you
came
don't
up
tell
on a
me
lot.
nothing now. I'm sitting there listening to Fall Out Boy every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So we came up on that. I mean, shoot, we saw Fall Out Boy. We went to Miami Mentor with Paramore and with Fall Out Boy. And I mean, and I know. Look, I know you had your ticket with Warren and all them. You sat in the lawn, and I sat in the seats, and I
Look,
kept
we
telling
still
your
ended up
ass,
moving up closer. We
you didn't
ended
move as
up
close
moving
as I
closer
did.
into. I don't care. I still got a seat, damn it.
Hey, I was right in front of Pete when he was playing guitar.
I know you were. I saw where you were, motherfucker. I am allowed to cuss on here, free.
Hey, might as well keep going now.
Okay, I was just saying. I just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be PG or am I allowed to say whatever I want to say? But
But yeah.
um, I mean, still, like, shit. I went to. I think the only concert that I didn't go with you was the 30 Seconds to Mars Muse concert
hmm
because that one was really last minute. Shout out to my man Chad, man. Like, came in clutch with two extra tickets, and I went to go. Me and my boyfriend J-Lar, we went to go see Muse in 30 Seconds to Mars, and it was really fun actually. I have a lot. I think I
Mm.
still have some videos and some pictures from there, but yeah, I can't wait to go actually go back and start doing festivals again.
Yeah, I know. Well, it'll be a while, but yeah, we've done. I mean, but yeah, we definitely done a lot. I mean, because you didn't go with me to Paramore when they came to Atlanta.
What?
Which sucks. That was 2017. They came, yeah, 2017. They came to Atlanta at Fox Theater. You didn't go with me to that show.
No, and you also went to the Breaking Benjamin concert without me, didn't you?
I did. Hey, look, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all know this now. There's a lot of stuff that I would invite India to. It's not to shame her, but I just gotta tell the backstory of some of these things. India is my rock buddy. All right. When we go to these concerts and everything like that, we go. We always go and have a great time. But here's the thing about India. Every time I've told India, "Hey, so and so is coming into town. So and so is coming into town," and you know, the biggest thing she will always tell me, "We'll see. I gotta see. We'll
Because
see.
everything
I
is
gotta
literally
see."
for me is up in the air. I can't make decisions unless things are actually the way they are because I already told you I have a Trump like I can make decisions and I my dad, I love him to death. This man is a wild card. He's like that draw four in Uno that you weren't expecting to pick or somebody to throw down on you. He's that reverse Uno game. That is him. And literally every time, in my defense, that I have planned to go do this, I have either gotten fucked with work, other obligations that come out on that day that I have to go do, or I'm either flat out broke. Like, not saying flat out broke, but I don't have the funds to use going towards said event.
Hmm.
These are not excuses because I literally make plans with you, but then somehow 2 or 3 days later, something out of the blue just fucks with everything.
Hmm. This is what I've had to go through. So there's been a lot of events that India and I have not been
Look,
able
we're
to go
trying
to.
to change that, okay?
Yeah, well, I let her know, and she'd be like, "Oh, okay, I gotta see it. Well, I've had so many of them things, and then I'll go and I
Well,
show
most of the
India the
time
pictures
they
and
always caught
video.
me on my own calls because nobody wanted to take my own calls from me.
I know. Look, and it's part of life, but it's just funny because I have seen a lot. I mean, look, I've seen a lot of bands that I never thought I always would get to see. Now, look, I've been able to see Shine Down. I mean, you and I have seen Shine Down and Five Finger Death Punch together. I know when we went to that concert. That was a great concert. For
Yeah,
their
I
tour.
like Shine Downs, but when Ivan, like, I think we didn't Ivan get sick when yeah, he didn't show up for the
Oh,
Five Finger
he
Death
didn't
Punch
for
one.
Five Finger. Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I think he was still going through some sober stuff. He was. I'm sorry. He was going through alcohol addictions during that time. I think
when did we go to that? Was that
that was
2018 or
in,
was that
no, that was in the 2016.
that 2016?
Mm-hmm. If y'all
Oh
want to,
boy.
it's so crazy how I can remember some of these dates because I just remember like the like where we were, what was going on at the time, so I can just remember some of those dates. But nonetheless,
Look, all I remember was the one that we went to for Slipknot, and dude hopped over the security fence, and the lady couldn't even stop him because he was like a tall, 6 foot three, 300 pound white guy just barreling down the fucking aisle and just went and jumped into the pit. That's probably one of my favorite moments, and I'll never forget it because it happened right in front of us. And I was just like, where the fuck did he come from? And security sitting there looking for him, and then they gave up, and they were just like, "Yeah, don't get in that pit. Don't get in that bitch trying to look for him."
oh my god! And you know what's so funny? I have never. I mean, I only crowd surfed once, not because I wanted to. I remember it was that band's Warped Tour, and I remember I was trying to find Vicky and Gabe at the time, and I remember I was trying to find them because I'm short, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't see nothing. So I tried to peek up, and somebody started lifting me. I started trying to jump to try to see where they were, and so they started lifting me, and I started crying like, "No, I gotta get down! I gotta get down! Get me the hell down!" And and so I'm so glad because I'm seeing the guys like when you see at the barricade, like them guys be ready for you. They be rubbing their hands, like ready, like to grab you and take you down and take you to make you have
See,
to go back
as
around to
much
get
as
in
I want
the
to get
crowd.
into the pit, I can't because I bruise like a fucking banana. Like I get bumped one good time, I have a bruise. Like as much as I want to go moshing in a pit, I can't. I would end up looking like I got stumped on it, like in a stampede or something by people hoarding the stage or something. But yeah, that's the only reason why. Other than that, I would love to have gone into the pit, but seeing my light skinned ass with bruises, everybody's gonna think somebody's abusing me.
Well, it's all good. But if you really okay, but let me ask you this, Andy. I know we've gone through a lot of that. What would you say has been probably if you could really pick out one of the concerts we've been to, or you've been to, what would you say was your favorite, or maybe one of your most favorite ones?
My very first one, and that was Mayhem
Mm.
with Godsmack and Disturbed, and who else was there?
Oh, I can't remember who all was else is
But
on
I
that
think those
main
were the
track.
two. I think those were the two that I remember the most. And when I tell you I had a really, really great time, I think that was the first time I actually lost my voice. Actually, not the first time I've lost my voice, but I went basically hoarse the next day because I was screaming so much.
Then that was before, and that was when that was like our last time seeing Disturbed before they took their big hiatus too, as
Yeah, didn't we
well.
see them again?
No,
Yeah,
no, no, I saw them again. I don't know if I don't think
I
you
could
saw them
have sworn
again.
I saw them again.
Because remember they went on tour for the um not for the Indestructible. Was the Invincible tour. I can't remember what it was. Uh, but their comeback record. But they went back on tour. But we didn't. I don't think you went with me. You actually no, that's what it was. You didn't go with me, and I didn't go. I saw Disturbed. I saw Disturbed a little bit later. I saw them when they came back. It was 2019. Yeah, I saw them in 19 here in Tampa for their arena tour. So that's when I last saw
Could you
Disturbed.
like just a quick question? Could you go back on Ticketmaster and just go look up all the receipts you've had from like past concerts?
I wish I can't, but I saved a lot of those ticket stubs. Like every time I've got a paper ticket stub to those concerts, I saved them. So I definitely have a lot of them. Some of them are back home in Atlanta, but I still have a lot of them.
Because I don't know where mine are. Because I know I saved the majority of mine, but I've moved around so much I don't even know where they are right now.
Nah, that's all good. So you don't. So you. What about the time we did VIP?
Yeah, I actually have to say that that came in clutch because it was hot as hell that day.
Shout out to my man John Farrell at the Atlanta Braves for helping me out on that one because he got us those VIP tickets to that Mayhem Fest.
Like that AC room was just I needed that. For
Oh,
some
it was
reason
so clutch.
it was so hot that day. Wait, didn't we do like a full day?
We did. I mean, because we did the full
Yeah,
thing. We did
wait,
the whole day.
you met my friend Chad that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, he just didn't. Yeah. Yeah, we did meet him. Body Count was on that fest too.
Right.
Ice's band.
Yeah, we went to go see Ice-T's band, and we were just standing out there in the sun. Like, I was like, I did not know Ice-T even had a band. I was like,
Because remember, it
oh,
was out there. Because remember, it was on the back end. It was on the other end where the other parking lot
right. Because
was, and there were all
normally
the stones and everything.
we never did the whole, the whole day kind of thing. It was more like we show up mid afternoon when, basically most of the stuff is ended and, all the major performances are going to start. But yeah, we took the whole day, and that was just really fun. It was tired. Like I was so tired when I got home. It was like
It's a tax on the body.
like jumping around, walking around, just having fun, meeting other people. You know, overpriced beer. Shout out to
Yeah.
Lakewood
Hey,
Amphitheater.
hey, yo, no, you remember that time? What was it? I think that was Slipknot. When we went to go see Slipknot, and you remember when we got those energy drinks? Remember that picture we took of those energy drinks? And I think he was talking about how the guys just kept bothering you at that. at that one concert, and we were drinking the energy drinks. I think we were also drinking the beers and stuff like that too. You remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, dude was
Yeah,
bothering me. I was like,
it,
why
it
are
was
you
before
talking to
it,
me?
it was before Slipknot had came on stage.
Like, why was he even talking to us? I don't even know. But
I
I
don't
just
know
know that
what
he was just really annoying. I wasn't even like, I was dressed for the concert, but I wasn't. I don't think I looked any different from how I normally do. But for some reason, he took a liking to me, and I was just like, okay, I need you to go.
oh, buddy, it's all good. Yeah, so we so we did that one. I would have to say the favorite one, just going back to your first one, that's so crazy because that was Amanda's first time going to a rock concert as well. So I'm glad that all three of us got to experience that together. Um, so shout out to Amanda Atkins. She got a chance to hang with us and be able to do that too. So I'm very glad. So I gave somebody another experience that was wonderful. I would say probably for me because I've done so many now. I would like to say I probably would say my favorite one. I think my favorite one that I have enjoyed. Oh, it's tough. I think the one I really enjoyed was the. It definitely was Slipknot. It probably was the first Mayhem tour. I went to the first Mayhem tour. I remember my dad taking me from school, from high school at the time. I remember him
It was on a
taking me.
weekday.
It was on a weekday. Yep, I hated that so much. I hated the Atlanta stop was on a weekday.
See, and that's
So
the
my
other reason why I couldn't go to a lot of things because it was during a school night, and my mom was like, "Nope."
thank God that I have great parents. So I'm
Not
glad
saying
my
that my
parents.
parents aren't great, but
I,
my
I
mom
didn't
was
I
just
didn't
more.
say that. I didn't say that. I'm just saying my parents were great. I'm just glad, shout out to them for being great parents, allowing and trusting me to go to a show. Because I swear, I know my mom, I know my dad, and my mom especially. She was like, she'd be a little worried the fact that I was hanging out with a lot of these rock people, and she didn't understand how they got down, and the whole moshing and all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm one of not too many black kids that go to these shows. So you have no idea what could happen. I mean, especially for being a teenager.
Right.
So I can understand her concerns, but I rocked through, and I was like, nothing's gonna happen, nothing. And I always take care of myself, like nothing's gonna happen. I always tell my mom that. So I remember my dad picked me up, dropped me off. It was a rainy day too, and I hated it because it was so tough to enjoy the outside stage just because it was raining. And so um, I remember when they finally started shifting things towards the main stage, and first time I got to see Disturbed, I was so hyped. It was amazing. I will say this about Disturbed. After watching the Decade of Disturbed documentary they put with that they had years ago,
Mhm.
um, I will say that you can tell the difference of they're more grounded. They were more grounded by that time than when they first started out. Like you could tell, like they were really young, and they're like you can see David like that just being like he does in the videos and stuff. And when they got older, you can see they become a little more grounded. You know what I'm saying? They don't. They're not over there like doing more wild stuff like they used to. But I can understand that. But nonetheless, so I had a great time with them. And then Slipknot, of course, seeing Slipknot come out on stage was amazing. I had already seen Slipknot before I saw them for Mayhem Fest because I saw them in Gwinnett. I saw them in Gwinnett, and I almost broke my foot at the Gwinnett show because it was in the arena. It was in the arena at Gwinnett at the time, and they were with Trivium. I think they were with Trivium at the time, and Cody and Cambria. And I was in the seats, saying, and I was jumping, and I jumped in my seat, and I missed the chair part. I had my foot slip into um slipped into the actual chair, so like the hole, and I couldn't. And I'm
Oh
like, bro,
Jesus.
because I was headbanging and having a great time, and if my foot had twisted a certain way, I probably would have broke my foot, but I didn't. I was all good, and I just kept going back and jumping, having a great time and headbanging, and I have no hair, so I can't. So me headbanging just
No,
looks like
let me
me,
just
just
tell
like
you something about Kai. This man will headbang, and I just don't know. I'm just like, how do you not get whiplash, sir? Like, I wake up the next morning and I'm just like, God dang it, man. My shoulders are just like,
what are you talking
God.
about? India, do you know how much my body has gone through so much pain? My neck has been through the pain of 1,000
Shit,
suns
I can't
because of
tell.
the.
When you got a
Let me
concert, I
tell-
can't fucking tell.
You ever see like me? Like, how tired I be? I'm like, oh, because I had to drive back on a bunch of those times you and I would go,
I
and
mean,
my
I
ass
see
would be
you the
like,
next day and you'll be looking all beat up, like,
I'd be like,
damn,
oh my
man.
god, I look like a wrestler who just
Call you back
wrestled
the
the
next
night
day and
before.
you just be like, I can't
Oh, I look like boy. I look. We whispering like, I need help. Oh my god, Eddie, this
say
sucks.
exactly. Just like that.
Like, oh my god, I can't raise my voice. So yeah, but it's so funny. But yes, I had to learn how to headbang. But yes, it's still a tax on the body, but I love it. I love the experience of going through all that stuff. I mean, those concerts are so great. But what's so great about when you go to those concerts is you get to meet people who get to share that experience with you, and they don't care what color you are. They don't care what background you come from.
And that's
They
what I
love
liked
the
about it so much.
Yeah, they love the fact that you love the music. That's all they care about. And especially if you know it well, you're like, man. And you know me, you know, I know everybody enjoys concerts in their own way. You know what my pet peeve is. Like when I see people who spend a bunch of money to come to a show, and you be seeing them too, you know what I be talking about. And I'll say it to you many times, but this is just me. I'm not hating on anybody, but I feel a certain way when I see it. When people spend all this money to come to a show and they just kind of like just be standing around. And you know this is their artist that they come see, and they
Like, why
don't
are
be
you standing around
singing, they just standing around and they just be like they just be standing, just be watching the show and everything like they don't be
you
singing
paid
or be turning.
$300
I'm
for
like,
VIP and you not even turning up? Like,
that's what
what
I'm
are
saying. You
you
paid
here for?
50, you paid your hard-earned damn money to see this damn show. And shit, you don't go and just rock out. I mean, look, I know everybody enjoys concerts very differently. I know I'm more the extrovert, high energy, and la la la. Yeah, no,
Like,
busting
I'm high
that's
energy
my
into
voice.
the beginning of it or whenever a song comes on, and then I kind of just chill out and I'm just vibing. Like, I'm enjoying the music, but there are just some people who just stand up there just like blank face, just standing there
Exactly.
like I don't know, I don't get it. Maybe
But I mean, but again, we've had a lot of great experiences. We've seen a lot of people. We've been in VIP. We've seen artists close up. We've met artists like we met Miss May. I got autographs from them. So shout out to
hmm
them. So hopefully at some point, I mean, I don't know if you want to say anything, India, in terms of like why we can't go to any concerts anytime soon. Um, if you, I don't know if you want to, but it's probably going to be a while before we
I'm
even
on
get a
house
chance to do
arrest.
so. You're not on house arrest. That's your certain way of trying to make it sound. You're not on house arrest.
I'm on
You
house
know, I
arrest.
know nothing. I know nothing criminal about you.
There's nothing criminal about me. But no, expecting I'm expecting my first child in July, and
Woo! Yay! Nephew
I
and
won't be
niece coming soon.
I won't be able to go to any concerts probably for like the next year or so, or depending if the world decides that it's not going to try and fall apart. But yeah, that's the only downside to that because we did have a lot planned, and I ended up, conceiving. So I was just like, if I could just watch, concerts virtually, I think I'd pay for it.
Mm.
Well, maybe
Yes.
not so virtually, but if it's something that I really wanted to see, I'd pay for it.
Yeah, which I mean, shoot, I think a lot of them are going to start doing that anyway now at this point. The way that things with the pandemic, even though things are getting better now, it will be something to see how concerts and everything go. I wish more. I mean, I know it costs to do certain things like recording concerts, and some of them actually like putting them out on video and everything. But I know it can be
Right.
very tough. I know it can be very tough, but nonetheless. But hopefully at some point you and I can do our rock touring again, and then this time have your ass be able to come to Tampa and enjoy it because now since you can't, I mean, you can still do it in Atlanta, but you got to go all the way to Alpharetta because that's where they usually do all the outdoor concerts at now when they do like those summer
Why did they
tours
stop doing it at Lakewood?
because Lakewood probably, I mean, either it costs too much for them to want to do Lakewood, or they feel like the market is very different. They don't want to do too many like heavy
Also, they
metal
gentrified the
ones.
hell out of that area, so they probably don't want all this shit over there.
I don't know. I have no idea, but nonetheless, now if I'm correct, I think Verizon Amphitheater does it up in Alpharetta. But here in Tampa, we have one amphitheater, and at our amphitheater, they do an amazing job. It's a great place to go watch the concerts too. They have much more space. And now I got really, thanks to my connections, I make things happen and find a way because that's what happened to me and Gabriel. Me and Gabriel went to go to Slipknot thanks to one of my hookups. You know what I'm saying? One of my good connections, and he got us VIP for the concert. We went to the VIP lounge, ate, and we saw Killswitch Engage, and we saw Slipknot in the pit, and we got close, real close to see them. It was amazing. So whenever whenever my niece or my nephew is old enough to come along with us and come enjoy rock concerts, hopefully some of the artists that we want to go see are still around them. We'll see how it goes because
I
they
mean,
are
I'm
getting
pretty
older.
sure we'll find something, another band we may or may not like. We may not.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of the artists that we're coming up on, that we came up on, that we really like, they're getting older, so we just got to deal with it. But nonetheless, we'll see how that goes. But with all that said, you all can see we have a very big, love for rock, hard rock, heavy metal. Uh, we've been
Alternative.
through a lot of alternative. We've been through a lot of this stuff. So I want, I wanted to specifically do this show for it because I've been doing a lot of hip hop, but I wanted to talk about my love of rock. So I'm glad that we got to talk about it and be able to let people know how this show goes. This is a show about every genre that I can be able to think of that I actually enjoy, and have people who actually enjoy it as well. So um, it's been an amazing conversation. It's been amazing to reminisce and talk about these things with you, Indy, and get to learn more about you and for us to know about you becoming a mother to be. So again, much love to you, Indy. I'm glad I'm going to have a niece or a nephew. Look, look, we're not related, but she's like a sister to me. So can't wait till my niece and nephew gets to come up and then I can teach them the game and everything. So it'll be all good. I just make sure I tell them that don't tell your mom. When it comes to things, I let them experience and do and stuff like that.
If I'm just not gonna pretend I heard that.
It's on recording. Everybody heard it. Anyway, so everyone, I want to thank you all again. Thank you for listening, and thank you again to India for coming on here and being a part of us. Of course, we hope to have you back on another time, and definitely,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, definitely get down about some more stuff. We hope maybe one day we'll, and actually, no, I think one day we will talk more about rock and our love of anime. And that's how everybody knows that. So maybe that's a little sneak peek
Lord,
for
I was
hey,
just about to get in. I was just about to dig into that, but that is a whole nother topic for a whole nother damn day. Like I feel like just to segue into it just a little bit, I feel like once I learned like started to discover more rock music, I started watching anime about the same time and started getting more into it. And hearing the opening and ending theme songs is just like
mm,
even though and this is what made me pursue like try to understand and learn Japanese, even though it's like it's kind of hard. But after a
Kinda.
while, yeah,
It's not kinda. It's hard. It's
it's
difficult
kind
as
of.
hell.
I just haven't put the discipline towards learning it. If I actually sat my ass down for probably like 30 minutes a day, I probably would be a lot better than I am at it now. But with that being
I got.
said,
Hmm.
with that being said, there's a whole lot that I can talk about, like Duran Gray, Larkin Sale, Nightmare, the Gazette. Like I can talk about a whole lot of them.
Even some of the
And
newer, even some of the newer people like Flo was a great band. But you know what? That's another time. That's
I
another
know
topic.
I'm
Another
just gonna put
time.
this one out here. Maximum the Hormone from Death
Hmm.
Note. I've listened to probably all of their albums. Do I know what they're saying? Halfway. Maybe
Wait a
about
minute.
three
Is
quarters.
is that the same? Wait a minute, that's not the same one who did the second opening for Death Note, is it? That's the first one, right?
What's up, people?
I can't remember who does the second opening. The the growling one
It could have been them. I don't know. I have to go back and look.
is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, like I said, that's another whole other conversation for another day. Again, thank you, India, for joining me and being a part of this podcast. I hope you had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for giving us your time
Absolutely.
and yes, thank you, and for giving you your wonderful love and your knowledge of being a true rock fan.
I
Thank
would
you
I
all.
I would say being appreciative of rock. Because if I call myself like a true rock fan, I feel like that's posing. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little hard on myself because I'm just like anyway, it doesn't matter.
But
Doesn't matter.
thank
You
you.
said what you said and you said what you said. So I like rock music. Yes.
There we go. So thank you again, India. I really appreciate it. Much love to you, girl. And thank y'all. That's a wrap. You can be able to. You can always remember. Actually, just remember to follow us. Follow us on all of our streaming platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We're on Anchor. Remember to find us on all these streaming platforms. You can find the link in our Instagram. And please follow us. MOS. Definitely music. Most definitely music on Instagram. Follow us there. Like and please subscribe on all of your streaming platforms. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss another episode. And go back and listen to all of our great episodes that we've had in the past. Please do that. Because remember, we are the voice of a generation, and this is the music of a generation as well. So again, this is your boy KG, Kai Gilkey signing off. Can't wait for the next episode of Most Definitely Music. We will be back soon. And that is everything we have left to say. Adios.
Bye.